Your body is your business. Mindset and methods that keep me creating. When your mind and your body is aligned and regulated, your decisions are cleaner, your nervous system doesn't sabotage, your content flows easier, your creativity lasts longer. I truly believe that we can't pour from an empty cup. And I'm living proof of this, besties. 10 plus years ago, I lost over 55 pounds, chose a sober lifestyle, realigned so many decisions from priorities, purpose, and purity. And when I stabilized my energy, everything started to shift, starting with purpose. So let's get into your body is your business, mindset and methods that keep me creating. Besties, people ask me all the time how I have this much energy. And spoiler alert, this wasn't always the case. In fact, in my 20s and in my early 30s, I didn't have this kind of energy. And also, not coffee. It's not hustle. It's not grinding harder. And it's definitely not a push through when you're exhausted. What actually changed for me were mindsets and methods over time that compounded over time because of consistency and treating my body like it is my business. Because guess what? It is. Because if your body doesn't work, how will you run your business? So 10 plus years ago, I lost over 55 pounds over a year and a half. So this isn't a 3 tips to lose 50 pounds in less than a month. No, it was over a year and a half after yo-yoing for years up and down because my mindset wasn't stable. I had so many limiting beliefs, so many lies that I believed that were not aligned to faith and scripture. And one of my favorite scriptures is your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. And when you treat it as such, as in your body is your business, everything changes. I heard a quote a while ago and I can't remember like who first said it because I've heard it many times. You can either pay for your health now or pay for it later. And I rather invest in it now than pay for it later. And it's made all the difference. So I stopped treating my body as a machine. And there was a time, like when I was in corporate, you guys, when I was in corporate before I lost all the weight, this takes me back to circa 2008. I'll reveal to you all my mess, all my bad habits, so that you know, besties, if it's possible for me, guess what? You can create it too. So I remember one of my 10,000 lives and billions of stories while on this planet is at one point I had left, let's see, I was in school again, focusing on finishing the curriculum for my CPA. I had my BA at the time and my MBA. And I was back at the credit union and working as the operations manager, second in command to the VP at an in-store retail location. And I was debating, should I go and get my real estate license, which is still a possibility. I love to learn. And if you haven't, definitely check out my upcoming, actually, it's an upcoming episode on my learning plan for 2026. But if you are dying to know, you can scroll back to the 2025 learning plan. I've been doing this for years, and someone reminded me or asked me, actually, it was a couple people like, hey, share about this and how you create this curriculum. So I digress. Let's see. So I was debating between the two, a real estate or a CPA, and I decided to dive in to get the CPA license. And was going, most of the courses I did with Becker CPA online. Like I have always been motivated, disciplined, all the things to, when I set a goal, to focus until it gets done. And so most of it I did remote. However, when I took the when I dug into the financial part of the book for Becker CPA, it was like 4 times more information than the other sections. So I made the executive decision that I was going to take this class in real life. And it was one of the best decisions I made. And so I was going to school at night, then once, 2 times a week, depending on the week. And then I was at the credit union, and there was periods of time where I would usually didn't eat breakfast, would maybe eat lunch half a day, stuff myself because at that point I was starving, and then again not eat for 6-9 hours and then eat at home. Then when I left the credit union to when I got the opportunity to work on The Apprentice, then circle back to Conoco. And anyway, from Conoco, I went to work at FuelQuest, a SaaS tech company. And then I ended up being at one point, like you can see a lot of instability, a lot of lack of purpose. And I'm only giving you the tips of the iceberg because the story has a point with the like horrible habit culmination when I became a corporate exec the first time. That I ended up unemployed for over 6 months. I was studying for the CPA still, finishing up the last 2 sections, then applying for jobs like my life depended on it, living back with my parents after having lived in Oklahoma on my own, and training some before, and planning my high school reunion, and going on interviews at least 2-3 times a week. And I have some crazy, crazy stories on that. I ended up interviewing with 17 on top of the regular interviews directly with companies. I interviewed with 17 recruiters, 17. I think I'm going to do a whole episode on that too. And it was like half of them never followed up. And I was like, how do these people make a living? Like they're horrible recruiters. Like it gave me a whole insight into the recruiter world. Then like the other 25% wanted to recruit me to be a recruiter. I was like, yeah, no, like, no, that's not my thing right now. Maybe, who knows? I mean, I feel like you're always recruiting or in sales to some degree, right? So I was like, yeah, no. And then the other 25% were like good, but they weren't amazing until I met Mark and Stacy. So shout out to Mark and Stacy. Stacy and Mark and I are still connected on social. Like right away, their energy was so amazing, like so enthusiastic, so over the top. I could see why like they killed like their relationships, their goals, all the things. And Mark was like, oh my God, like right when we got on the phone the first time, I have this role. I think you're going to be perfect for it. And it was an accounting support manager at an oil and gas company. Now, keep in mind, they had just created this role. And keep in mind, I had at the time ConocoPhillips experience, and I had Zytex and banking and retail and some other things, right? But I had no direct experience that was directly related to the role. Well, Mark and Stacy were visionaries and could connect the dots with the skills and the proven results. And so they were like, this is a brand new role with your past and your drive and your entrepreneurial spirit. I already had side hustles at the time. We think you're going to be perfect for this. So I came in. I still remember sitting across from them, the interview. Mark and Stacy felt like friends. They were telling me about the company, about Trish, the CFO at the time, about Linda. And fast forward to interviewing with Sandy, the CEO at the time, yes, woman CEO of an oil and gas company, which I freaking loved. I came in prepped with a PowerPoint presentation on how I would, handle the first 90 days. When I interviewed with Linda, who was going to be my direct boss, the controller, she right away was like, you're going to be perfect for this role, etc. So it was like, all the stars aligned after the persistence, like the persistence paid off. So you can see why I was like, ooh, this should be an episode in itself, right? So I got the role, and because I had previously, like I shared Cliff Notes or our tip of the iceberg, had experiences where I had a lot of instability, a lot of money, challenges, being on unemployment, where basically my entire unemployment check at the time, which should have been a red flag, but Katrina was definitely blind to see it, actually covered my car note. My Infinity car note at the time was $750. Yes. Cray. I digress again. It's just so you know, my money messes and I am completely human. And she was like, you're going to be perfect for this role. And with all that, instability, I didn't realize at the time because I wasn't as aware or diving deep into my psyche. I had a lot of worthiness issues. And it was like this spirit, this feeling that I needed to prove myself, that like I needed to go all in on the role. I needed to, prove results in a month, in 90 days, in a year, like massive results. And I did. Within the first year, like myself and my team of 4 added back like over $5 million to the bottom line, saved collection times on millions from 50 days to like less than 15, and so many other results. At the same time, back to my body, our body is our business. I wasn't eating breakfast. I was racing out of the door on little to no sleep. I was maybe eating lunch if we had a lunch as a group, and we went to like this Italian restaurant in Deer Park, Texas that I loved back when that version of Katrina ate butter and biscuits and like heaps of pasta and was 55 pounds heavier. And then I would like go back to work, usually till 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and usually didn't eat, maybe drank water and coffee. And that was if we went to lunch. Usually, so I wouldn't pack my lunch, I wouldn't do meal plans, I wouldn't do any of that. I would, and then sometimes my lunch was like a handful of M&Ms. It was like food was an inconvenience to me. So wherever you are, like likely I get it or I've lived it, because I was also the girl that would set New Year's resolutions, hello January, and usually by day 15, like all the stats show, would quit or would give up because I was trying to go from 0, to 90. And so I would default back from 90 to nothing. Again, instability, double-mindedness. Until I finally recognized and realized making it about more than me. Like when I started doing, when I did my first century event, yes, 100 miles on a bike ride in Tahoe. It was for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society with a community, with raising $6,000. And yes, I did it 55 pounds heavier. Then I did it again. Then I did I've always loved athletics. I always wanted to inspire through wellness. Then I did a half marathon. Then I did another half marathon where I co-coached a team and co-coached with fundraising. And we had other trainers with LLS and Team in Training, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Then I realized, I love weightlifting. And so I ended up first doing a program with an app. I found it on Simply Shredded, but I can't think of the app's name right now because it's been a minute. For 90 days with Jamie Easton Middleton. And I was researching teams. I was researching what teams to compete with. And I landed on Team Edge with Ingrid and Joe at the time. Now Ingrid has Team Fuego, which is my aim this year to get back on prep. And at the time, I had also already done a triathlon, an Olympic distance triathlon in DC in the honor of my bestie, Janelle, that's now an angel in heaven and was avidly aligned to Herbalife Nutrition and the incredible #1 global nutritional brand, the incredible community, Herba Heroes, and was, focused and integrating that into every day of my life and still do. And, 10 plus years later, 90 plus countries, incredible company, incredible business opportunity that's integrated into all that I create and do. And found Team Edge and realized it was going to require not only discipline, but patience and not quitting. And by then I had recognized my previous instability. Okay. And I signed up for a 6-month prep right away for my first show. Was so nervous after I'd already been stable, on the 3+ months weight training and the other trainings I mentioned. So obviously there was consistency. Obviously there was progression. Obviously there was also, when I look back on, those versions of me, the decision to not quit no matter what it took or how hard it got. And so when I signed up with Team Edge, my fundamental belief was, yes, I want to compete. Yes, I want to do all that. Yes, I want to be on stage. Yes, from boardroom to bikini, literally, because I have sat in boardrooms as a financial expert. And what I drilled it down to, because this is the fundamental thing, is I will not get on that stage because A, I won't have the results. B, my coaches won't let me embarrass, them. And C, if I don't do the daily disciplines, the every single meal every 2.5 to 3 hours, every single workout, the weight workout, the fasted workout, the cardio workout, whatever it is for that day. Because that's what it boils down to, whether we're talking about our body, whether we're talking about our mind, whether we're talking about our money, our business, whatever the case is. It's like taking a shower. You take a shower every day, I hope. And I know that sometimes that's a luxury depending on what's going on in life and where you are. Like you might be, in Peru also. Like I'm in Peru right now in Machu Picchu on a trek or something, but I'm not doing that now because it's rainy season. So I'm in Lima right now. But it's a daily discipline. And I share that piece of my story and those highlights of my story so that if I can walk through it, you can create it too. Because when I lost that 55 pounds over a year and a half, it was changing and replacing habits one by one for the first, 6 months until I did the Olympic distance-ish triathlon. Then it was the 3 months consistent of weight training, building the muscle, building the consistency, proving to myself I can do this, then getting on prep for 6 months. And then placing, you guys, doing my first show in Vegas, like go big or go home, right? Like crazy. And you can see a video on my YouTube on the 4 a.m. Wake up call and how I 25x'd my business, because I show some of the pictures there and on my Facebook. And if you scroll on my before and afters and about me and LinkedIn, and actually on my about me pin post on my Instagram at Katrina Julia Fit as well. And so walking through that was like, it was like such a wake-up call. And because I was aware enough to know of my instability at that point, I immediately signed up for another prep to do a show in February of the next year, because I knew I could not yet trust myself from a self-accountability standpoint to stay stable. And there's so many people, like if you're in the fitness world or if you've ever researched anything about prep, there's a billion ways to do it unhealthy, which that was one of the reasons why I chose my coaches. I was not trying to starve or like kill my body or, try to do it super fast. No, like you see the progression of a year and a half. And even with them, I took 6 months. And even now when I sign up for prep again, like even though I'm consistently, like I'm literally following the same method again, traveling full time. I found a gym, SmartFit, that travels with me, that's all over Latin America, not sponsored yet, that's amazing, super modern, super clean, like great classes in the locations that have classes, all the things. I'm now consistently for the last 2.5 months training 6+ times a week with weights, because I love weight training and I love dance. And I love breath work and all these different dance, breath work, stretching, all these different modalities. And so I'm proving to myself yet again that I can hold this level of consistency again, even with full-time travel. Because before I competed, I would travel some with, speaking engagements with the AICPA, keynotes. I would bring my 6-pack meal bags, but it would be for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Versus now it's ongoing, but I build in stability to my routine. So I wanted to share all that. So wherever you are, you can relate and find yourself in those stories. I have so many more, you guys, so many more. So think about your body as your partner, not a machine. Your partner in life, your partner in crime, your business partner. Your body is your energy source. It's your creativity machine, creativity engine. I don't like the word machine for our bodies. Decision-making center, your consistency system. If you're exhausted, inflamed, burned out, underfueled, disconnected, no amount of quote unquote alignment, no amount of funnel, AI tool, strategy will save you. Wellness isn't extra, it's foundational. And in fact, what I found as a fundamental truth, you guys, is if your wellness isn't aligned, your brain isn't thinking clearly. Like no amount of, I just finished a 21-day fast for Transformation Church. And I remember when I had piss poor habits doing my first Daniel fast back in 2010. And I remember how different I felt, literally, spirit, soul, mind, and body. And so, no amount of prayer, meditation, breath work is going to save you and give you infinite clarity to your fullest potential. Like, yes, it can give you some, but to your fullest potential as when all of it's aligned. Your calmness, your nervous system, your nutrients, your protein, your complex carbs, your healthy fats, eating consistently. I eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. Like in that part, I'm like a machine. Like the same discipline and drive I had through 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018 is like back in full effect. Like wellness is foundational. So let's dive into the morning stack. And the other thing I want to stress is this happened over time. You heard me talk about earlier, 1 to 2 habits changed a month for those first 6 months when I got super stable over that year and a half. And those stable habits stayed with me even though I wasn't, working out 6+ days a week until recently. As far as at a gym, I was still using Peloton, I was still doing different things. But over time, I created a morning stack and a sacred 7 routine. And let's get into the morning stack first. And this is like 5 minutes, you guys. Like literally simple, repeatable. Because what I learned is complexity will literally, it makes it so much harder. And simple, repeatable, consistent progress over perfection. So what my mornings usually look like is making sure I have some sort of level of exposure to sun. Like your girl doesn't do snow. I realized when I was back in Atlanta after traveling full time 2021, end of 2020 to like mid 2022, like how much gray affects me massively. Like SAD, seasonal affective disorder. Like I realized when I first moved to Atlanta, it was a real thing for me because sunlight helps us regulate hormones, our circadian rhythm, our mood. It's free, it works. So like this year, I radically changed the end of 2025. I was in Mancra, Peru with like constant sunlight. And then in January in Lima with like mostly sunlight, some gray, but like still warm. Compared to the same time last year, I was in Vietnam and hadn't checked the weather and had so much rain when I was in Da Nang until I migrated to Hoi An and Ninh Binh, which still wasn't as warm as I would have liked. But that's me showing you like I constantly reflect and learn. Like we win or we learn. My aim currently, especially since last quarter, has gotten to be around 8,000 steps a day. Walks, workouts, that's on top of the workouts. Movement snacks. This boosts energy more than caffeine ever does. Not to mention the effects on your body, especially if you're going through perimenopause. So I also just got my period back after a year and biohacking my body and having faith it was coming back for so many reasons. I'm going to do a whole episode and video and short on that. And then supplements and fuel. So Herbalife, I mentioned, I've been on consistently for now since 2013. So 13 years. That's a whole episode in the making. Vitamin D, I talked about. And when I don't have it as often as I would like, I supplement with it. Maca, there's so many incredible roots and herbs within the world. And then within Peru, it's like constantly around you. And so I added about 2 to 3 months ago, maca and moringa. Maca is an incredible supplement for your hormones, for your energy. Moringa is like a superfood with so many different vitamins and minerals. I'm going to be sharing even more on that specific episodes. But definitely Google or ChatGPT. You could use, side note, my Creator Health AI agent. There's a free preview on Gumroad. I'll drop the links in the show notes. I'm super excited about it. I've been testing it and refining it now over 6 months. I've tested what works for our bodies because my body is my business. This isn't about trends. It's about tuning in. And then hydration before stimulation, like always drinking, a cup of water with lemon or some kind of mix. I also often do a bullet coffee with like coconut, butter, and cinnamon. And I don't touch my phone. Like it's now almost noon. I don't touch my phone other than like an alarm or like an intention setting thing or something really, really brief until like usually past 2 or 3 o'clock, because I make sure my top priorities are done first. Like it's noon and I've literally only touched my phone twice for an alarm, once briefly for WhatsApp, and then once brief, like less than a minute on IG. That's it. What keeps me anchored isn't just physical, it's spiritual and mental. And so, my Sacred 7 morning routine that grounds me, that got developed over time, includes prayer, journaling, movement, creation, stillness, reflection, and an alignment check in. And in the reflection, often also includes a listening to a positive message. And this morning was a really weird, interesting positive message time. Like I listened to a subliminal, or had it playing in the background, a subliminal audio on YouTube. I listened to Myron, I think it's Golden. Hold on, because I don't want to get his name wrong. Yep, Myron Golden for like 15 minutes. I listened to Layla Harmozy for like 20 minutes, and then I got to work. So, fuel with what you need to fuel with, but don't let it take you down a rabbit hole. Some days I do all 7. Some days I do 3. The goal isn't perfection, it's progression. And sometimes with movement, I'll dance in the morning because that's what I feel like. Sometimes I'll do breath work. Sometimes after like a brief, tuning in and a brief prayer, I'll go to my workout right away. And my original plan this morning was to go to the beach, but the weather said it was going to be, super clear because Lima's kind of iffy. So I checked the weather here more often versus in Mancora, I never did. And I woke up this morning and it was super foggy. And I was like, well, I'm not going to the beach. Like, why would I go to the beach and it's foggy? Like, that doesn't make sense. And then I marinated on going straight to the gym. But I was like, no, I'm feeling like my brain needs some more love. My spirit needs some more love. And then I'm going to do some podcast recordings. And then we're going to go to the gym. Like, so it's not perfection. It's progression. These habits keep me from spiraling, burning out, over consuming. Another rule I have is create more than you consume. And I used to have it as a 3-to-1. Now I have it as a 10-to-1. Yes, 10-to-1. Meaning I create or take action on a minimum of 10 things before I consume something. So for example, this morning I listened to about 40 minutes, right? And now I've, before I recorded this episode, I completed 4 PowerPoints coming up for the behind the scenes portions of my YouTube videos. So that's 4 things already. And those are like pretty, like it's not just checking an email, you know what I mean? Or replying to an email. I had cleared last night already all my emails. Then I scripted the next potential 10 to 30 plus episodes. So that's already 6 things. Then I recorded this episode. So that's already 7 things. Then I'm going to the gym. I still count that as creating. Then I will check emails. Or no, then I will do a social post at 9. But that's still creating. So I'm still creating and share on stories. And then I'm clearing out and scheduling several shorts and posts on my YouTube channel and on TikTok. So that's 12. Minimum. And then I will fully check email and then spend about 15 to 20 minutes on social. Then I will do likely some EFTs, some prayer, maybe listen to something else, etc. So that gives you some, context. And then why this matters massively for your business. It's like I shared in the intro. Your creativity lasts longer. You feel like a whole new human. You're pouring from a full cup. You're serving from overflow. You're creating from overflow. You're creating from abundance, not lack, not scarcity. I have billions of content ideas all the time. Like I don't relate at all to the creator that talks about they don't know what to post. Now, Katrina in 2010 would have completely related to that because Katrina from 2010 was functioning on fumes. But Katrina in 2026, no, baby. I got literally, I could literally not record another thing, not create another piece of content for a year even with full-time travel. And I would still have more than enough to post with all my content already created from B-roll from the last 3 years. Easily, like without even blinking an eye. Easily doing point of views, easily doing carousels, all the things. Like one of the things in my marketing plan that's also a template on Gumroad, and it's one of the templates in my creator template bundle, as well as in Creator School, is in my marketing plan Canva template. One of the things when I was putting together my strategy for this year, I was like, wait a minute, let me repurpose 80% and let me create 20%. Because again, it's me creating from overflow from what I already have. And again, that goes back to clarity, and my body is my business and my brain is functioning. And one of the things I really want to do is get a brain scan. Like that's on my list this year or next year. So if you are a creator that is craving creating community and cash and create it, you are in the right place. Start with some people would say start with your morning, but I actually want to say start with your night. Because how you set up your night matters so much, and what you do before you shut down for the night. Like I pray, I do EFT, or I listen to something positive. I discovered yesterday, so the beginning of 2025, I got into Limitless Year. It was, I think, aligned abundance or something or another, but now it's Limitless Year with Manifestation Babe. And so I got Limitless Year this year for free. Like I completely forgot about that it was life access. And then when she sent out the info and sent everything out, I was like, oh my God, I received this as a blessing, as a surprise blessing. And through her podcast, I was listening to last night. It was about Neville Goddard's The Revision Method, which I'm constantly, a student. I had never heard of. It's, I've been in therapy, I've done EMDR, I do EFT, I pray, all the things, but I had never heard of the regression method, I think is what it's called. Hold on. Or revision method by Neville Goddard. It's essentially you go into it's one of two things or one of two ways. Either you're triggered by something and you calm yourself and you evaluate yourself and, analyze what potential memory is triggering you from a young age, and then what was painful about that memory, and then you literally imagine it's like reparenting yourself. You recreate that memory and what you would have liked it to have been instead of what it was. And then you literally you're literally revising the memory. I mean, that it's quote unquote not real because you know what happened or your memory of what happened, but you're defusing the emotional charge. And then you're literally reparenting yourself and giving yourself the emotion and the rehearsal of what it could have been, what you desired it to be, what you needed it to be. And you rehearse that every single day. So when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, there's one key impactful memory that I had of when I was 11 that created so much emotional charge around the overperforming, overfunctioning versions of me. And immediately my spirit was like, focus on this memory for the next 30 days. I'll probably do a whole nother episode on that too as I'm speaking. So I'm sharing literally, so you literally have an insider look of what my night routine was yesterday. And then you set your alarm clock. And so, like I said, my original intention this morning was, wake up, because yesterday I was up at 5 a.m. So I was like, oh, I'll let myself sleep a bit, wake up at 6 or 6:30 and go to the beach for sunrise. Well, when I woke up, it was foggy. So it was like, okay, pivot, flex, be flexible. And I shared with you what my day looked like, today. And so with that, if you haven't yet gotten into my Creator Circle and the preview of Creator School, I invite you to dive in there because I share wellness, wealth, marketing, business, travel, and community, and tips, tools, and tech, including regular entrepreneurial opportunities, 6 to 8 figure opportunities on platforms that I find millions of dollars of opportunities all the time, and habits, tips, tools, and tech. And then also, if you dive into Creator School, just to give you a preview, it's 12 steps in health, wealth, and business. You start at the step you desire, 12 courses, 12 templates and AI agents and growing, 12 ebooks, and a monthly transformation toolkit when you sign up for the annual. And depending on what you qualify for, there is a payment plan as well. So, besties, your body is not in the way of your business. Your body is your business. And I promise you, the more that you pursue that, the more that you will profit from the inside out. My transformation from the inside out is living proof of that. So leave a review for the show with the Diary of a Creator. Include your IG handle and or your website so I can shout you out. And as always, remember, create, transform, and inspire, because bestie, you are worth it.